Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
For months, the Republican Party has enabled Donald Trump's campaign for the White House, even as he took aim at Muslims and Mexicans, indulged in misogyny and enjoyed endorsements from white supremacists. But tonight, the Republican establishment has launched all-out war on his bid for the presidency. The ferocity of the rhetorical onslaught by the last Republican presidential candidate, Mitt Romney, was breathtaking. Tonight, we're live in America's capital city for the latest on an election which is convulsing the nation.
Also on tonight's programme, we're live in Athens, where one of the world's biggest ports looks more like a transit camp for thousands of desperate refugees. EU leaders are pleading with migrants not to come. We reveal how Facebook is taking more money from adverts placed by Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs than it's paying out in UK tax. And waiting for the world to be ready, the pioneering abstract artist who wanted her paintings to remain private for decades after her death. Now they've gone on show at the Serpentine.
And later on the programme, would you rather not see this, still less talk about it? As it's revealed, 1 in 4 girls start their periods before getting taught about them in school. We ask women and girls why a monthly fact of life is still such a taboo. So now it's open warfare. The man who clinched the Republican presidential nomination 4 years ago declared that Donald Trump had neither the temperament nor the judgment to lead America. Mr. Trump has hit back, rounding on his own party bigwigs for ignoring a groundswell of popular support for him. This is the scene now. Our Washington correspondent Kylie Morris joins us where Trump is about to speak. Kylie.
Yes, and we're just imagining what Donald Trump will have to say after a very kind of a visceral takedown by Mitt Romney. It was a surgical strike. He targeted every aspect of Donald Trump's candidacy. Donald Trump, his character, the businessman, the leader, whether or not any of his ideas are affordable or achievable. I mean, this is Mitt Romney, remember, he was the Republican nominee for president 4 years ago. But now, suddenly, the establishment has decided to come out and say Donald Trump is not suitable to be in the White House. Their biggest problem is that it might have been much better for them to decide this even 4 days ago, because just a couple of days after that, Donald Trump won a majority of Super Tuesday states. He is very much in a dominating lead in this race. And now seems a very strange time to finally find the words to critique him. Mitt Romney bowled on stage with one aim in mind: to take down Donald Trump, his own party's frontrunner to become president. Welcome to the strangest, angriest political meltdown in modern American history.
Here's what I know. Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud. He's playing the members of the American public for suckers. He gets a free ride to the White House, and all we get is a lousy hat. But you say, wait. Isn't he a huge business success? Doesn't he know what he's talking about? No, he isn't. And no, he doesn't.
But cut to 4 years ago, and there's this.
It's my honor, real honor, and privilege to endorse Mitt Romney.
Donald Trump standing alongside then Republican nominee for president Mitt Romney and his wife, giving an endorsement that Mr. Romney obsequiously received.
Being in Donald Trump's magnificent hotel and having his endorsement is a delight. I'm so honored and pleased to have his endorsement.
Now they've traded places. Far from returning the endorsement, Mitt Romney would like any Republican but Mr. Trump to be president.
Frankly, the only serious policy proposals that deal with the broad range of national challenges we confront today come from Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and John Kasich. One of these men should be our nominee.
8 months ago, when Donald Trump descended to the accompaniment of Rockin' in the Free World to announce his candidacy, no one could have predicted how he would rock the Republicans' world. Now the establishment has declared him unfit to be president, even though overwhelming numbers of Conservative voters want him in the White House.
He has neither the temperament nor the judgment to be president. Think of Donald Trump's personal qualities: the bullying, the greed, the showing off, the misogyny, the absurd third-grade theatrics.
So this strike back by the establishment, it's hard to know whether or not it will have the desired effect. Of course, many people who are supporting Donald Trump are supporting him because they believe that the establishment is the problem. They want to see a revolution within on Congress and within the White House, and they want change. They don't respect voices like those of Mitt Romney. Now, we are expecting Donald Trump to give a response to what Mitt Romney has said. He's campaigning in Maine, which is one of the places where there are primaries due in the next few weeks. So we will be hearing more from him, but for now, it's back to you in the studio, Kathy.
Now let's return to our top story and the US presidential elections. While we've been on air, the Republican frontrunner Donald Trump has been responding to the attack on him earlier by the last Republican nominee for the White House, Mitt Romney. Kylie Morris is in Washington. So, Kylie, what has he had to say?
Well, remember, Kathy, Trump is a bit of a street fighter when it comes to dealing with insults, and that's kind of the tone he's taken with Mitt Romney. I think we can see some of the live picture of him. He's been on the campaign trail in Maine, but he's interrupted one of his rallies really to respond to Mitt Romney, saying that Romney choked in the last election, that he should have won against Barack Obama, that he let the Republican movement down. He's called him a joker. He's talked about how back in 2012, Romney asked for Trump's, in fact begged, according to Trump, for his endorsement, and Trump bragged, "I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees," and he would have dropped to his knees. So really ridiculing the idea that Mitt Romney has the character to be criticizing him. Let's have a listen to something he said.
Mitt was a disaster as a candidate. So what happened, and it was very strong, and I think if the press goes back, they'll see it. When I heard he was running again, and I wasn't sure I was going to be running, but I was very, very strong to Mitt and to everybody, and publicly, not to talk to him, because I didn't even want to talk to him. I was so disappointed in him, because he let us down. He let us down.
So not really any surprise that Trump has taken that kind of a tone, but it's a very interesting development to see the establishment finally find the words that no other Republican candidate has found to criticize Trump. There is a debate coming up here this evening, another Fox-hosted debate, so we can expect that a lot of the criticisms that Romney shared with the world today will be taken up by people like Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, John Kasich, the challengers of Trump, who still have some chance of somehow obstructing his route to the nomination. But certainly, as one might expect, the leading Republican candidate, Donald Trump, has taken this criticism on the chin, and he is moving on and moving, as he would see it, directly toward the nomination.
Kylie, thanks very much.
Now, back in the US presidential campaign, Donald Trump is still speaking in Maine. Let's hear a little more of what he's had to say.
He's a choke artist. He's an absolute, and I started hitting him so hard. In fact, people say, why'd you hit him so hard? Because we cannot take another loss. We can't take another loss. One of the things that Mitt brought up, which I think is so serious, he said about trade. We have to keep trade. Nobody knows more about trade than me. I mean, I made so much more money than Mitt. You know, I have a store that's worth more money than Mitt. It's a store.
Well, that US presidential election contest has divided opinion across the states and at least one family in Hollywood. The film director Spike Lee and his wife, the writer and producer Tonya Lewis Lee, are both Democrats, but differ over who should win the party's nomination.
Wake up, South Carolina. This is your dude, Spike Lee. And I know that you know the system is rigged.
The film director, never one to shy away from politics, is backing Bernie Sanders ahead of his Democratic rival Hillary Clinton with this radio ad aimed squarely at black voters.
Bernie was at the March on Washington with Dr. King. He was arrested in Chicago for protesting segregation in public schools.
Sanders has struggled so far to attract the black vote, but the issue is an important part of his campaign.
There is no rational reason why a black male baby born today has a 1 in 4 chance of ending up in jail. That's a disgrace.
But despite this, not all black voters are convinced. Not everyone in Spike Lee's family is either. His wife Tonya has come out in support of Hillary with a series of tweets. The couple are famously political, recently choosing to attend a basketball game on the night of the Oscars, when several stars boycotted the event as there were no black actors nominated in any of the acting categories. Well, earlier I spoke to Tonya Lewis-Lee from New York. I asked whether accusations that Hillary Clinton is unlikable and cold are fair, and whether she can really beat Donald Trump.
I absolutely think it's possible that Hillary can beat Donald Trump. I don't know that we really in this country want someone who is so loud and brash and is just a personality. As my president, I think that sometimes when people look at women that way, who are serious and thoughtful, they refer to us as being cold as opposed to being strong. And so I think sometimes that's a little bit of gender bias there.
And she's continued to be very popular with ethnic minority voters, which other Democrat candidates have just not been able to catch her on.
If you look at what happened when she ran against Obama, she ran hard. You know she wanted that. She wanted to win. But ultimately, she served Obama. She served this president. So I think in terms of certainly African Americans in this country, we see her loyalty and we support her as well.
Donald Trump has just been saying that he believes he can win over the African-American vote. Do you think that's likely?
Well, given what I've seen at Donald Trump rallies, I don't understand how he thinks he can do that. I have not yet heard Donald Trump talk against any of what I have seen as the white supremacists who have come out to support him. So I haven't seen him say anything against that. So I don't see how he can possibly get the African-American vote.
Now, there's no reason, of course, why you would support the same person as your husband, but you've caused quite a stir by coming out in favour of Hillary when Spike Lee has said he's supporting Bernie Sanders. What are the chats like over dinner?
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Spike and I have typically been rooting for the same candidate. And I would say that in the almost 25 years that we've been together, this is the first time that we've split our votes. So we've had a couple of very heated conversations around this issue. But I do think that Spike eventually will come around and realize that Hillary Clinton really is the right candidate and will be the next president of the United States.
And that on this, he's just wrong.
And he's just wrong. And, you know, sometimes Spike is wrong. And in this particular case, he is.
But I have to ask you, because it's such a massive issue over there and here now at the moment, the question of diversity, you know, touched on a lot at this year's Oscars. I mean, what do you make of that situation?
Well, I think the issue, you know, it became about the Oscars, but really the issue is about inclusion in Hollywood and making sure that Hollywood reflects the diversity of this country.
There was some confusion as to whether Spike did boycott. I mean, would you say that he boycotted?
I would not say that he boycotted. Spike is a member of the Academy, but at the same time, I think that looking at the nominees this year, we both felt that we would not feel comfortable sitting in that audience suggesting that we were okay with the status quo.
But that is a boycott,
so we decided
isn't it?
not to go. But, well, maybe it's a boycott, but it's not like we were calling on other people to do that. It was a personal decision that we made, and we were not suggesting that other people should do it as well.
Tonya Lewis-Lee, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.